Hi everyone, welcome back. Season 7 of the Canary Room. I can't quite believe we will have made 7 seasons of this. But here we are, we're back. Happy New Year to you all. I hope you've had a good start to 2024. It is bitterly cold in the UK at the moment. You can see I've got a number of layers, including some extra Christmas stuff around the gills here, but I've got a number of layers on. It's bitterly cold here in the Canary Room. We've got frost in the morning here in the UK. The outside drinkers in the flights have been frozen. So yes, cold. But you might be able to hear the birds are sounding in good form. So the cold, as long as there's no drafts, the cold's not bothering them at all here in the Canary Room. So what have we got in store for 2024, not just today's episode? Well, the return of 2 features. So today we're going to return the to-do list, a popular feature that we ran in the show a couple of years back, where I give you sort of hints and tips on a monthly basis of the jobs to do in the bird room. So that's coming up in the show later today. And in our next episode, we will return question time. So if you have got any questions, canary-related questions, bird-related questions, pop them in the comments below. Or if you're not already following us on Facebook, look out for the Canary Room on Facebook, and please do pop a question on there as well. Always send me a direct message there too. So we are on Facebook. I tend to update the Facebook on a couple of times a week. So please, if you've not already following us there, jump on that. We will have a new feature as well. We've got a pair of birds back in the room. I say back in the room. We had this species last year, but we didn't have them in the Canary Room. More of that in future episodes. And they will be a bird in spotlight this year for us, so we'll keep an eye on them. We've, of course, got the Fifes. Some exciting news to talk to you about over the next few weeks and few months with the Fifes. We've got the Norwich. We've still got new colours in here. Of course, we've got those pesky red poles, and we've got some goldies too. So lots and lots of stuff going on in the Canary Room. We will continue our on-the-road trips. A couple of visits penciled in. We've got some more international trips as well. So listen, lots to look forward to. You know what to do, everyone. Just in case you've forgotten, grab yourself a cuppa, sit back, and enjoy the show. So, as I say, it's been a while since we've been in the room. I think it's probably about 2 months since I was last here, maybe even longer. We have had a show season since then. So birds have been out in the show season. They're all finished now, and I'm preparing them for breeding season 2024. Good season for me on the show bench. Number of class wins. I'm delighted at North Wales to take best white fife, best blue fife, and best champion allied to white fife. So delighted with that. And a real surprise, to be fair, with the white birds. Talked last year a lot in 2023 about building a white line. Didn't expect them to do as well on the bench this year, just gone, as they did. I think the white hen won a class at Telford, all 5. She won a class at the Midland, and she won a class at the North Wales fight. So she did very well, as did one of the blue cinnamon carrying cock birds as well. So white birds did well for me last year. Also pleased with some of the 10%. 10% yellow hen did well for me on the bench. A couple of variegated buff cocks that are part of the breeding team this year. They did well on the bench as well. So good solid season for me last year. Hugely enjoyable judging engagements. For those of you who regularly follow the show, you'll know that we made it to Canada, we made it to Belgium, we made it to Germany, we made it to Malta. Now, you haven't seen the Malta footage yet, so here it comes, right here for you now. The Maltese National real pleasure, and indebted to all the fanciers in Malta. Lovely bunch of people. Interesting venue. Not been to this venue myself before. It's actually a skateboard park, which was good, but the team put on additional lighting. You can see that round the judges stand. And one of the things, I first judged this show, I think it was in 2014, or its predecessor show, and it was a really enjoyable experience. And one of the things that I was taken aback with the first time was just the volume of different birds, and the massive amount of parrot-like, and you can see from the footage, huge collection of parrots, as well as the things that you would expect to see at a sort of national show. So there were a small selection of budgies, probably due to the time of year, to be honest, a significant collection of new colours, all the different varieties of new colour there on show, and you can see some of them being judged here. And then the sort of the older type birds, and it was lovely to catch up, and it has been a theme really of the 2023 show season to catch up with people in various different countries and locations. So last time we were out in the Canary Room, the last episode was Martin Halen and Martin's budgies. I met Martin in Canada. He hails from Belgium, and when I was in Belgium I met Joss, and Joss was judging the type varieties in Malta. So if you're still keeping up to this, it's been lovely. It's been lovely to meet new fanciers, meet new judges, and then basically follow them around Europe, or see them around Europe. So Joss, we can see Joss judging here, an excellent judge, and all credit to him. He judged a huge variety of different type canaries across the show. And then my old mate Brian Keenan. I've known Brian for 20 odd years or more, and so travelled out with Brian, spent quite a lot of time with Brian over there. Here he is judging his Yorkies, and doing a very fine job, so as well, or so he tells me, and I think Colin and the rest of the lads in Malta agreed. At least I think they agreed. So the show, some really lovely birds, and the footage, I'm always mindful, the footage never truly captures the beauty of the birds, or indeed the show. And there's a couple of things that I was really impressed with. The first of these little judging trolleys. I've got here Michael, Evertonian Michael, he is on Facebook, who was my steward for the couple of days I was judging, and you can see him here. He's basically wheeling a trolley. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant idea. All of the birds sort of came up, the whole class came up at once. I could sort of keep, normally you're scrabbling around for space, but these trolleys were wonderful, and I'm sure there'll be people in the UK having a look at this now going, we could probably buy or build one of those. Seem to be relatively easy to make, although I won't be building one anytime soon. And then I was massively impressed with the volume of greenfinches. Now, anyone knows anything about Malta will know that they have a huge selection of greenfinches. I met a chap there who was judging them from Austria, who spent basically 2 days judging greenfinches. There must have been 250 plus birds, greenies there on display. And of course, judging, being a national, judging to the points, so takes a little bit longer to do than comparison judging. So all in all, amazed, I think I've used that word many times, but amazed by the number of hawfinches on display. I think I counted 12 or 13, I'm not sure I filmed them all, but huge number. Normally in the UK, you might see 1 or 2 in a show if you're lucky. But what a trip. Another great way to end the 2023 show season. And if you've enjoyed our trips, stay tuned to the channel, because there will be more in 2024. one of the things I've been really keen on catching up with this year really is the Norwich Canary, particularly on my travels. Wherever I've had a chance to see sort of Norwiches, I've sort of made a beeline towards them. No different in Malta. Absolutely delighted just after my trip, actually, I think, from Malta. Took a little visit to see Keith and the lovely Margaret, and came back with a couple of cockbirds and a hen bird to really sort of lift me on for 2024 with the Norwich. So you might not be able to see all in shot at the moment. We've got an over-year yellow cock here in this cage. We've got an over-year buff cock here in this cage. Those are two birds that I had last year that are from Keith. And then we've got our two new arrivals. There's a variegated yellow cock here in this cage. I'll have a little look at him close up now. And then a clear buff cock in this cage. And I think both are, both have got the kind of the style which is prevalent throughout Keith's stud. Both I think are really, really lovely birds and will do me well. And then over in a cage just out of shot, I've got a variegated white cockbird that I bred from the Jones and Roberts partnership, and Richard and Arwell are two of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet. And I've got a bird there which is bred from a hen I got from them and a cock I got from Keith a couple of years ago. So there is 5 cock Norwich this year that I've kept. I did breed more. I've got a few more that are going to new homes, but there are 5 Norwich cocks that I'm going to run in this year, which I think, all things being well, I've certainly got the hens to go with them. I should produce some really nice Norwich birds with a view to getting birds on the show bench next year. Hopefully the quality and some quantity will be there. Now we talk about next year, I actually mean this year, because of course it is now 2024. I have to keep reminding myself of that. And another thing I need to remind myself of is things to do in the bird room. So it's that time, the return of the to-do list. I'm always mindful that the channel gets views, and grateful that the channel gets viewers from all over the globe. So January here in the UK, it is approximately 6 to 8 weeks before I'll start breeding. And this is my to-do list at this time of year. So the cocks, as you'll be able to see from some of the footage here, the 5 cocks and the Norwich cocks are in double breeder cages. So they're singled off. They have been since the end of the show season. I've separated them all off. I've got sort of 2 perches at either end of the cages. And this allows me to do 2 things, really. A, it means that these birds aren't squabbling. They're not fighting for attention. As you know, there would be a dominance if I was to put them all together in the flights, as the hens are. There would be a pecking order. And I have done that in the past with the cocks. Not something I wanted to do this year. There are 12 5 cocks on this wall, and they are going to be the prime birds. There might be one more to come into the mix, but they'll be the prime birds that I'm going to use in this breeding season. So, first thing really is about the conditioning. Now, birds come into breeding condition with an increase in light. Okay, heat is not necessarily important. You don't want it to be too cold, but heat really isn't a huge factor. It's more for our benefit than anything else, but light is critical. So I will be gradually, and have been gradually, increasing the light in the bird room, and breeding will commence at about 12 and a half, 13 and a half hours of daylight. Now, I'll hit that time probably towards the end of February. That's going to be the plan. So first thing in the to-do list is to, if you're using artificial light, is to start the process, if you haven't already, of adjusting your light. I do mine gradually. I put about 30 minutes on each week, every other week. I don't want to just, click it all in one go. Next thing then is that the sort of the preparation. So talk a lot about cleaning out the birds. So I've been using this time round T+, which is a Pantex Dr. Cooter product, which I got from Pet Source. This is essentially doxycycline. So using this as a clean out. What does that mean? Well, it's just to sort of strip down of anything in the birds. Some people do it, some people don't. It's something I have done sort of relatively religiously over the last few seasons. So sort of strip the birds down, make sure there's no nasties in there, and then build them back up. And one of the ways I build them back up is through egg food. You can see the process of making egg food, it's messy, and every year I try and maintain a similar recipe, but I try and make it easier for myself. And this year I have decided, and it was really a holiday last year that sort of triggered this as an idea. Last year I still had birds in the nests when I went on holiday with the family, and so I froze a load of egg food. My sister came in and fed the birds for me. So what I've done this time round is I have made up the sort of the wet mix, if you like, the wet element of the soft food mix. And the wet element, those of you who regularly watch the show will know, I use a bit of kiwi, I use a bit of apple, I'm using peas, broccoli, kale, carrot, garlic occasionally, and sweet corn. And I blitz all of those things up. And then what I've done is taken some really big, chunky ice cube holders and packed them with the solution, and then or the mix. And then what I've done is stuck them in freezer bags and popped them in the freezer. And so I've got, you'll see here, I think 9 are made. So that will give me 9 lots of egg food from that. It'll last a few months in the freezer. I'm not making the egg food this time and freezing the egg food. I'm just freezing the green mix that goes in. So super simple. And I'm, trying to save as much time as I can so I can spend more time with the birds. But as soon as the mixture went in, you can see some of the shots here. The birds are devouring it. So January really is all about preparation for breeding. So lights, if you're going to give a clean out to the birds. And then, of course, one of the things I use is a product now called Exalt. Now, lots of people in UK and Europe have been using Exalt for some time. It is a mite treatment for me, and I've done a number of videos around mite. It's one of the best things I've ever used. So it is water soluble, it goes in the drinking water, and that's again part of making sure that the routine of no mite in the shed, no mite with the birds, will give us a really, really good breeding season. Baths are on. Baths would be in every, job of the month section. Baths are on regardless of how cold it is outside. They go on first thing in the morning. The birds will jump in and bathe. As you can see, it's freezing, the water, and it's freezing outside, but they are still very, very happy to bathe. So that's our to-do list. Next time round, we'll be doing the deep clean. We'll be cleaning the cages thoroughly. We'll be trimming nails, trimming vents, and so on and so forth. So that's our next to-do list. Stay tuned for that. Well, it's great to be back. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, hit a like. Hit a subscribe button if you haven't already. If you've got a question for us on Question Time, pop it in the comments below. If I don't answer it on the show, I will answer it on either YouTube or Facebook. As I say, if you don't follow us yet on Facebook, find the Facebook channel on YouTube. It's called The Canary Room. Until next time, everyone, take care.